Okay, good day everyone. Today I will be reporting about literature under the Spanish colonization. And my specific topic is excerpts of No Limitangere by Jose Rizal. In this report, I will first give a short background about literature during the Spanish colonial period. Then I will introduce Jose Rizal and his famous novel No Limitangere. Then after that, I will explain what an excerpt is and discuss some selected excerpts from the novel. I will also explain the important themes found in these excerpts and how they are connected to the experiences of Filipinos during Spanish colonization. So, during the Spanish colonial period, literature in the Philippines was greatly influenced by Spanish culture, religion, and colonial system. During the early years of Spanish colonization, many literary works were connected to religion and Christianity. Spanish missionaries used written materials to teach Filipinos about the Catholic faith. However, as time passed, especially during the 19th century, Filipino writers and intellectuals started using literature to express their own ideas and experiences. They began writing about the problems they observed in Philippine society. These problems included social inequality, abuse of power, discrimination, injustice, and problems in education. Because of this, literature became more than just entertainment. It became a way for writers to express their opinions and criticize problems in society. In simple words, literature became a voice for Filipinos. Through the writings, Filipino authors were able to show the struggles and problems that people experience. So, the important part of this is literature became a way to speak about the problems of society. One of the most important writers during this period was Jose Rizal, whose works became significant in the development of Filipino nationalism and national consciousness. Okay, now let us talk about Jose Rizal, the author of Noli Me Tangere. Jose Rizal was a Filipino writer, physician, and nationalist. He was born on June 19, 1861, and died on December 30, 1896. He is best known for his two famous novels, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo. Rizal was highly educated and he is used his knowledge and writing skills to express his concerns about Philippine society. So, through his writings, he showed the different problems experienced by Filipinos during Spanish colonial rule. He wrote about injustice, discrimination, abuse of power, and inequality. So, what makes Rizal's important is that he used literature as a way to speak about social problems. Instead of simply telling people that something was wrong, he created characters and situations that allowed readers to see those problems through a story. So yeah, gigamit ni Rizal iyang talent sa writings para ma-aware ang mga Filipino sa problem sa ilang society. Because of this, his works became important not only in the Philippine literature but also in Philippine history. Okay, so now let us talk about the main literary work in our topic, Noli Me Tangere. Noli Me Tangere was written by Jose Rizal and published in 1887. It was originally written in Spanish, which is important because our topic is connected to literature during Spanish colonization. So, the title Noli Me Tangere means Touch Me Not. The main character of the novel is Crisostomo Ibarra, a young Filipino who returns to the Philippines after studying in Europe. Okay, when Ibarra returns, he wants to help his community. One of his goals is to improve education because he believes that education can improve people's lives and society. However, as the story continues, he discovers many problems in Philippine society. He encountered powerful people, social inequality, religious influence, abuse of authority, and injustice. Through Ibarra and the other characters, Rizal presents different experiences of Filipino during Spanish colonial rule. So, dili lang siya simple nga story about the characters. It also represent the problems of Philippine society during that time. This is why No Limitang Hiri is an important literary work when studying literature under Spanish colonization. Okay, so before we discuss the selected excerpts, let us first understand what an excerpt means. So, an excerpt is a short selected part or passage taken from a longer literary work. Since No Limitang Hiri is a long novel with many chapters and events, we cannot discuss the entire novel in a short classroom report. Instead, we select important parts of the novel that help us understand the characters, events, themes, and messages. So when we say excerpts of No Limitang Hiri, we are referring to selected passages that represent important ideas from the novel. So the excerpt we will discuss show different issues such as abuse of power, inequality, injustice, poverty, and problems in education. Okay, so let's proceed to the first selected excerpt, the chapter 15 or the sacristan. I know some of you are familiar of these two brothers. So this chapter focuses on the two young brothers, Basilio and Crispin. They work as a sacristan in the church. So in this part of the story, the two brothers experience fear and harsh treatment. Crispin is accused of stealing money, and because of this accusation, the brothers experience a very difficult situation. And this excerpt is important because it shows abuse of power and injustice. So Basilio and Crispin are young and have a very little power. Because of their social position, it is difficult for them to defend themselves against people who have greater authority. So Rizal used their experience to show how people with power can sometimes take advantage of people who are weaker. So this is connected to the Spanish colonial society because the novel presents a society where certain authorities had great influence over Filipinos. Makita nato diri nga dili equal ang power sa tanan. Some people have authority while others have very little power to defend themselves. So the important message of this excerpt is that power should not be used to hurt, control, or oppress other people. Okay, so let's proceed to the second selected excerpt, chapter 16. So this chapter focuses on Sisa, the mother of Basilio and Crispin. Sisa is a poor mother who deeply loves her children. She worries about them and waits for them because she does not know exactly what is happening to them. So her story is very emotional because she represents an ordinary Filipino mother who is simply trying to take care of her family. So through Sisa, Rizal shows the themes of poverty, family, suffering, and injustice. Her situation also shows that social problems do not only affect people who are directly involved in politics or government, they can also affect ordinary families. Sisa does not have political power, wealth, or social influence. She is simply a mother trying to protect her children. However, because she is powerless, she has difficulty protecting her family from the problems around them. So, makita nato diri nga even ordinary families can suffer because of an unfair system. Sisa's story helped readers understand the human side of social problems presented in No Limitang Here. Okay, let's proceed to the third selected excerpt, chapter 19. So, this chapter focuses on the difficulties experienced by a schoolmasters. Education is very important in No Limitang Here because Ibarra believes that education can help improve society. He wants to establish a school because he believes that young Filipinos need proper education to have better opportunities in the future. However, the experience of the schoolmaster shows that teaching was not easy during the colonial period. There were problems within the system that made it difficult for teachers to perform their responsibilities properly. So this excerpt is important because it shows the connection between education and social change. Rizal present education as something that can help people understand their situation and improve their lives. But at the same time, he shows that education can be difficult to improve if the system itself has problem. This excerpt therefore shows why education is an important issue in Noli Me Tangere. Okay, so let's proceed to the fourth selected excerpt, chapters 50. In this part of the novel, Elias tells Ibarra about the painful history of his family. His story reveals experiences involving discrimination, social inequality, and injustice. This excerpt is important because it shows that injustice does not always affect only one person. Sometimes, the effects of the unfair treatment can continue and affect an entire family. Elias represents another side of Filipino society. Ibarra comes from a more privileged background, while Elias experiences the struggles of people who have less power and fewer opportunities. By showing these two characters, Results allows readers to see the differences between social classes. Some people have education, wealth, and connection, while others struggle simply to survive and protect their families. So, makita nato diri no nga lahi-lahi ang experiences sa mga tao depending on their social status. Therefore, this excerpt strengthens the themes of discrimination, inequality, and injustice.